What's up? I'm Ellie, and welcome back to my channel. I am coming at you from my streaming area because I am going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be doing a tier ranking video, and it's much easier from this point of view. So I can just talk and record at the same time, to be honest. Like, much easier. So I'm going to be doing a tier ranking video of everything that I read in 2021. However, we're going to do this a little differently because technically I've already ranked these in best to worst because I ranked them with stars. And I already did that in my stats video. So I thought instead we could rank them by music genres. So this was suggested as Taylor Swift songs. However, I don't really know Taylor Swift songs. All into a music genre of some sort. So let me just explain what I mean. So this, my friends, is what we are working with. We are going to be working with, we have a rock category, which this is like pretty much guaranteed. Everyone is going to like it in some form or another. So rock category is top tier. Everyone's going to enjoy it. You're going to know it. It's going to have a lasting impact kind of deal. K-pop, the girlies who get it, get it. And the girlies who don't. There's that. I personally don't get it. Don't feel bad. So then we have pop. Now, pop is a little different because I feel like pop is liked by the masses, but isn't necessarily like super long lasting or anything like that. So it's a little bit of an in between. Like, you're probably going to enjoy it, but it's probably not going to necessarily have a lasting effect, or you're not going to remember it as much until someone mentions it again. And then you're like, oh yeah, I know that. That was good. Techno seems good in theory. Like, it's pretty to think about. It seems like it's going to be a good time, but like, no substance. There's nothing to it, you know? Also, please know, I am not dissing on any music genre. I love all music. I grew up in a pretty musical household. Like, this is not a diss on any of that. Whatever kind of music you like is good. And then the last one is country, because I think country is like one of the most hated music genres. People just absolutely hate it. So I thought that would be the bottom tier because, like, you're like guaranteed you're not even going to give it a try. Like, it's not good kind of deal. So that's how we're going to do that. Let's get into this. I'm kind of looking all over the place because I have too many monitors happening right now. I think that's right. Okay, you will notice right away I didn't include any of the Goosebumps. Honestly, I feel like they're more of a nostalgia thing anyway, so I did not include any of the Goosebumps series in this. Plus, I'm not putting 62 Goosebumps into, I just wasn't doing that. We're not doing that. So if I could put the Goosebumps as a whole, it would probably be a techno, because like the nostalgia is really nice to think about, but then you get into them, you're like, these aren't really that great. So there's that. Okay, let's start with Horrorstör. So Horrorstör it's interesting because the format of it, I feel like, is really neat, which makes me want to put it like here. And then the concept of it, I personally didn't really care for, but I know a lot of people really love this. Now, it's a ghost story, and horror tends to like fall into a specific area anyway. And I think this one is like really particular. I feel like, honestly, this one could probably be K-pop. Like, if you're into it, you're really into it. But if you're not, like, you're really not. It's a really like specific type of area to enjoy. The Circle was just bad. I feel like I've talked about this a lot. Like, it's about a boy who shits rubies, and then like there's this witch stuff, but like it's all just terribly done. The story doesn't really have a point. It's just not a good time, honestly. I'm gonna put that one in country because, like, I don't think anyone would enjoy it. Not a single one. The last Final Girl is absolutely a K-pop pick because, like, the people who get it fucking love it because, like, the format of it is very confusing. But the people who can like handle the format, love it. But if you can't handle the format, you got no fucking clue what's going on. And like, I get that. I do. I know so many people that read this because of me and they were like, I didn't really understand. And I'm like, that's okay. That's fine. Like, it's fine. I think I only know one other person who loved it, and they did love it because of the format as well. So, that one's definitely K-pop. Beautiful Darkness. Oh, this graphic novel is so good, and it has such a good meaning, and it's beautiful. I think this one's gonna be a rock for me because I think it is a story anyone can get something out of. It's really impactful, it's dark, but it's also beautiful. And then the artwork style is also really consumable. So I think that this could be a hit for literally anyone. Like, you don't just have to be a graphic novel reader to get this. So for the children, I feel like would also be a rock pick because even though it's like vampires and whatnot, which seems like a pretty niche type of genre, the overall substance of it is much more than that, and it's gory at times, it's suspenseful at times, but it also has like a really deep message within the work. So I feel like that one's gonna have to be a rock as well. The Magnus Bride. Now I want to put this in country because I like fucking hated it. I feel like I have to put it in K-pop though, because the people that I've seen talk about this absolutely fucking love it. And then there's me, who fucking hates it and hates it with a passion. So I feel like the people that get it, and then there's me who's just like, oh, I don't fucking know. You know? The Cold Moon Over Babylon. You know, I think I'm gonna have to put this in the pop. For me, it's going in the pop. I know that this is more of like a horror classic. However, this is a writing style that just I feel like was good in the 80s, but not good now. Like, it was a hit when it came out, but I don't think it works as well today. Like, it's lengthy and it's long and it's over descriptive. It's not even like necessarily good with the suspense. So I feel like it was good then, but I don't necessarily think it works as well today. The Risk, I feel like, is also gonna have to be pop. Although I fucking love this book so much, it's about a serial killer dating the FBI agent looking for her. Yes, please. I do think that this is one like you read for funsies. And like it's a hit when you read it, but not necessarily something that you're like out there recommending to everyone, especially because it's called the Mindfuck series. Like, I can't be recommending that to my neighbor. Janet is not gonna read that. Come on. So I feel like that has to go into the pop category. Pashmina is a really cute and really powerful story. I'm gonna have a hard time placing this one. I feel like it could go into rock, but the story was beautiful. However, I don't know if it was like trying to do too much at times. And honestly, like I loved it as I was reading it, but it's not necessarily something that I've thought a whole lot about since I finished it. I think that this could have been a really impactful story in a novel format more so than a graphic novel. It just dealt with so much was going on. So I think I'm gonna put it in a pop, but that is questionable. It is questionable. Just saying. So we'll do Into the Drowning Deep. And I think Into the Drowning Deep might also be you know, I think I'm gonna put this into rock because even though this is a horror book, which it can be kind of niche, I do think it does well in so many categories. It does well in character development. It does well in like giving the character stories and backstories and like they each have their own thing going on, but it also has like horror and suspense. But then it also has some romantic moments and also just like some really serious matters. So I feel like that this just like does everything all around and like there's gonna be something in it for you. I feel like I need to change techno because I thought I was going to be using it a whole lot more. I don't know. Okay, We Hunt the Flame. I think I'm going to put into, you know what, rock. I'm putting it into rock because I loved it. I think pretty much anyone who's into YA fantasy is absolutely going to love it. I think it's really well done. I think even people who aren't necessarily into a lot of YA fantasy, like, it's pretty good because it's not like an overly complicated world to understand, and it has a really great cast of characters, and it's pretty straightforward with the things that it's doing. It's not like all this overly political type stuff, so I do think that that one could work. Friday Black is going into K-pop. This is a short story collection, which again isn't everyone's cup of tea. Also, because of the nature of it, it is dark at times, it's gory at times. I could see not a lot of people really enjoying these works, or they would read them and not really fully understand what's being said. There is a lot of thinking power that has to go behind this, and I feel like the ones who would get it are going to fucking love it. Okay, here, we're gonna put Living Room Matsunaga-san in Techno. This is one that's like pretty, you like it, you know, it seems good, but then like it doesn't really have like a lot of substance on the inside. Like, it's it's like nice while you're there, but not really a lot of substance to keep you going. You know? So we're gonna put that one there, and that's not just because it's like a romance, it's just like not really one that I felt like was overly unique or anything. Kind of in this, no, you know, I'm gonna put Bloom in pop, even though I think that this honestly could work in a higher tier. This is a really beautiful graphic novel. It's about two boys falling in love, and I absolutely love it, but I don't think it's something that I think about all the time, and I don't really think about recommending all the time, but it was really enjoyable when I read it. Storm of Locusts, I feel like, has to go into K-pop. It has to. It has to. Because, like, anyone who's read this gets it. It's so good. Now, this is, I feel, a higher fantasy world. It is a dystopian. We have myths and gods that have come to life. So, good shit. I hate to do this, but I think I'm putting We Arrived at the Castle in Techno. Even though I think that you could derive a bunch of meanings from this book, upon first reading it, it doesn't really seem to have a point. It's beautiful to look at, and I do think that carries a lot of this. And I do think you almost have to like reread it and reread it and reread it to get like the meanings out of it. But for the most part, like if you just read it and just quickly fly through it, like you're probably not going to get much out of it. 10,000 Doors of January. Also, the ones who get it, and the ones who don't. This is like a slower paced fantasy. Doors open up into things. It's so good. I love it. I love it. What's Not to Love, also in the Techno. It seems really pretty. It seems like a good time. And then you get into it and it's just like, it's not really serving what I need from it, you know? This is the Pure Moon over... The Order of the Pure Moon over Reflective Water, I think. This is going to be a K-pop one. This isn't one that I fully understood. I have to reread it because I think I would love it upon a reread. But when I first got into it, it was just like a lot. There was a lot happening. You know, I feel like I almost need another category. Can I like add a row below? Let's add another row. Let's do it. I realize that I'm just adding this and now I'm going to move some things. So I think folk music is going to be ones that are like really complicated, okay? It's going to be complicated. It's going to have a lot of layers to it. It's going to be great. You might not necessarily get it, but it's going to be complicated. So I think we're going to move the Order of the Pure Moon. I think I'm going to move Friday Black there as well. I just think that these ones will be hits if you fully grasp them. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. The Maidens is definitely Techno. Seems like a brilliant idea at first. No substance. It doesn't serve what it needs to. Wait for the Stars is the sequel to We Hunt the Flame, so it has to go in a rock with it because the sequel does the best at continuing on what We Hunt the Flame set out to do. I think anyone would absolutely enjoy them. Alatsue, I feel like, is another one that can fall into rock. It is really lovely. It is about a girl who like can see ghosts and is solving like a crime and with ghost type things involved, and it's just a really lovely story. So I'm gonna say that one's going to rock. I don't think I've heard of anyone really disliking it so far, so we're gonna put that there. Camp Slaughter, I am going to put it into pop because this is like you go to it looking specifically for like blood and slasher and gore, and it's going to deliver. It's not necessarily like a standout novel. It's like you go to that knowing what you're getting. You Should See Me in a Crown. I think I'm going to put this into pop. I enjoyed it. It was fun when I read it, but I haven't really thought much about it since I read it. I thought it was going to have a much more powerful story than I feel like it did personally to me. It was just kind of, but this seems to be a thing with me with like YA contemporaries lately have just not been hitting for me. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I would like to put this into rock thinking that everyone would fucking love this book. However, it seems like it might have to be more of like, if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. A lot of people think that it's really pretentious, and I don't see it that way. So I feel like if you get the hype, like you get it, but it seems to be quite a polarizing type read. Now this one's going to be hard. They Never Learn. It seems like everyone's loving this. I didn't. However, I think it does really good at just kind of delivering what it promises. Like it's a suspense, it's a little bit of a mystery. I think even I enjoyed it. So I don't think anyone would like not enjoy. I don't think anyone would be like upset reading this. I think that there is something for everyone within this story. And it's got a little bit of mystery. You're trying to figure out like how the timelines connect and things like that. So The Night Swim, I feel like, can also go there because this is about like this is about a rape trial and a podcast that is following that. And I feel like anyone who's really into podcasts, anyone who's into like true crime type stuff would really enjoy that. And I also just think it's a really good look at society. There's some mystery, there's some suspense. I thought it was, good stuff. Empress Assault and Fortune, I think I'm also going to put under folk music because this is another one that, like, upon first reading it, I wasn't exactly sure what I was reading and definitely would need to do, like, a reread to fully grasp what the story was about, but it was really good when I read it. Mexican Gothic. Where do I want to put this? I think I'm going to put this in K-pop. Because I know a lot of people who hated this book thinking that they were going to get like a gross, gory thriller type horror, when really this is like it's a gothic. It's very slow. It's like the subtle creepiness. It's dark and it's damp and it's just takes a while to get there. So I feel like if you get there, you get there, and if you don't. Act Your Age, Eve Brown, I'm going to put in pop. It's a good time while you're there, to be honest. Like, it's a good time. Blood on the Tracks. I'm going to put this in techno. I feel like people who read this seem to love it, so it could possibly go into the K-pop category. However, this, I feel like, comes off like it's going to be this really creepy horror, and I didn't get those vibes personally. I don't think it gives you enough to really want to continue the story. So I'm putting it in techno. Like, it seems really nice, but once you get into it, you're kind of just like, okay, I guess, sure. Then did I just move this too far? Well, it is what it is. Clap When You Land. I feel like this can go under rock. I feel like anyone would enjoy the experience of reading this, and it has a lot of different layers to it about two sisters connecting after their father dies, even though they didn't even know each other existed. I feel like it's good. The Midnight Library, this is going to be a shocker. Midnight Library for me is going under techno. I feel like the overall idea of the Midnight Library is really cool, really interesting concept, but I just personally didn't think that the overall story did it very well. I would have loved to see it expand on the different lifestyles that she could have lived, and it just didn't. Like, it could have talked about some really dark, heavy topics. It mentions them, but then it just drops it. Like, it doesn't want to deal with it very surface level. Kingdom of the Cursed, you know, if you get it, you get it. If you know Wrath and you're attracted to Wrath, you get it. And that's pretty much it. You could probably put this into pop. I'm personally putting it into K-pop, but you could probably put this into pop. Like, it's a good time when you read it. Are you going to necessarily remember it all the time? Maybe not, unless, like, you're really thinking about, like, what happened there. So, you know, that one could be up to you. From Blood and Ash, this I do think I am going to put in pop. For me, I personally think that, like, it's a pretty average fantasy story. It's just a good time, but it's not necessarily one that I have felt, like, really excited to continue necessarily. I enjoy the world. It's a good time, again, but, like, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, oh, you know, fine, it was fun. God, I want to put Every Last Fear and Country. Like, I feel like everyone will hate this, but I'm gonna put it in techno. Like, the concept of it seems cool because, like, I went into it thinking it was going to be really cool, and it just doesn't do what it says it's going to do, and it relies on a lot of cliches and just really pulls from a lot of, like, kind of suspense, mystery, stereotype things, and just throws those all together, and it just is like, ugh. Court of Silver Flames, I'm going to put into pop. This is a good time when you read it. But, like, out of this whole series, it's whatever to me. It doesn't really stick out that much. There was some really great scenes in this, but overall, like, it was kind of pretty average. Nothing But Blackened Teeth. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Because everyone is telling me on my favorites video that they hated this book, and I loved it. So maybe it's me. Should I just put it into country? Because everyone hates it but me. I'm gonna leave it into country, but just know I am the only person in the world who seemed to have loved this book. Across the Green Grass Fields. You know, I'm gonna put this in folk. Because I don't think this one really works that well as a standalone. I think you have to really understand the rest of the series to enjoy this one, because this one, if this one came out on its own, I would kind of just be like whatever about it. You have to spend a little bit more time digging through this world in this type of series to, I feel like, fully grasp this, because I think if this was on its own, I wouldn't have rated it as highly as I did. Like, I was definitely relying on the series and how much I enjoyed the series, I think, for this one. Small Time is about, like, I don't think I ever talked about this one on my channel. I read this for, like, a book club that I was doing, and this, about, like, mobs in Pennsylvania type thing. So it's a little nonfiction, and but mostly fiction. Like, it takes inspiration from the author's family life. So, like, it is good. I'm gonna put it in folk because I feel like you have to have a special interest in that. Like, it's written well and it's fine. I don't think, like, if you get it, you get it. You don't, you don't. I think, like, it's pretty straightforward in that regard. So I think you would have to do some digging. You would have to have some interest in the topic. You'd have to know a little bit about all of this. So I'm gonna put it in folk. Like, you're gonna have to do a little bit, like, extra work for that one. The X-Talk, I'm gonna put this in pop. Like, it was good when I read it. Not really long lasting effects. Same with, I think, you know, I'm gonna put this in here because I feel like you have to love fae romance stories to love these Hollow Vows, and, like, if you love fae stories, you're gonna fucking love it. Like, it's just as simple as that. Secret Santa, I am going to put in pop, good time, not necessarily long lasting. It's not going to be something I think about all the time, especially because it is a holiday read. Like, it was fine. A Place on Our Planet, I think I am going to put into folk because obviously you have to have a special interest in learning about the planet and learning about like global warming and the different avenues and whatnot to improve that. So I do think that one's going to go into folk. A Thaw Love Story. This one can probably also go into pop. Most of the contemporaries are probably going to be in pop because, like, again, they're good for the moment, but not necessarily something that has like a long lasting effect for me. Let me see if I can like try to get my books still like somehow where I can see them. So I think I'm gonna put that there. The same with the Holiday Swap. Like, it was fine when I read it, but overall, like, wasn't. Actually, I think the Holiday Swap could probably come down here to techno. Like, it's a pretty idea, but it was kind of like whatever. No, the rating was fine. It was fine. I'm gonna put it back in pop. Okay. The Girl from the Sea was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna put that one rock because I do think anyone can enjoy it. I think if you enjoy beautiful artwork, if you like nice stories, this one has a few different layers to it about a girl coming to terms with her sexuality, coming out, being accepted by her friends, and then also like the pressure of society. But then there is also a little bit about endangered environments and whatnot. So we do have that. Fangs, I feel like I'm putting this in techno, but I mean this in the best way possible, in that this had like no actual substance because these are just like little tiny skits. Like little tiny comic things that tell a story over time, but like not like a overly impressive story. It's a vampire and a werewolf like being in love, and it's just really short, just little tiny scenes and whatnot. So I mean it in the best way possible when I put it there because I don't think it's like out to achieve anything grand or amazing. Oh, Malibu Rising. Where do I put Malibu Rising? I'm going to put this in the K-pop because like I didn't love it. I think that there are a lot of people who would love it, but I am not one of those people. And I guess I could see aspects of why they would love it because Taylor Jenkins Reid does a really fantastic way of like portraying famous people who don't actually exist. And I think she does a fantastic job at that. I just don't think that particular story was for me. Mel the Chosen, I feel like it's fun while you're there, but not necessarily something that you might think about all the time. It's just like a girl that goes into a fantasy world and has to beat the bad guy. You know? It's been done. Survive the Night. This one's gonna go also into techno. I feel like the overall premise of it is fairly interesting, but Riley Sager just falls into too many stereotypical tropes and whatnot within this type of story and then just throws a bunch of random shit at you, and it just doesn't really add up. Not a lot of substance. Final Girl Support Group, definitely going into the like, if you get it, if you get it, if you don't, you don't. I feel like this book has been incredibly polarizing. Like, you either hated it or you loved it. So, Blackout, this is another YA contemporary that I feel like was fun when I read it. It's about a bunch of short stories. They all kind of connect. It all takes place in one day when New York City has a blackout and follows different characters going throughout the city during this. So that's pretty much it. The Violent Season. The Violent Season was so good. It was so good. I'm going to put it into rock. I am, because I do think everyone could derive something from this story. I am nervous that some people would think it is very mediocre, despite the fact that a lot of the topics in it are very hard topics. And it has a very impactful story. It's about like depression mostly and how that can really shape your life. I'm putting it there. Don't anyone tell me if you dislike the book, because I will not be able to handle it. The X-Hex, again, another one that's like fun while you're there. Not great for the long run. The Dare? Absolutely, if you get it, if you're into clowns and bootlicking, you're gonna love it. Thought it was pretty well written. If you're not, don't do it. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm officially losing my tears here. And then we have Diary of Blood. I think anyone and everyone could love A Diary of Blood. I think there is something in there for a little bit of everyone. It is about coming out of an abuse. I love that it also has like this gothic kind of overall theme to it. I think anyone who reads it will enjoy some aspects of it, whether it's the format, whether it's the setting, whether it's the characters, or just the overall atmosphere. Like, I feel like you'll get something out of it. The Holiday Switch, I am gonna put in techno. Like, it seems like it's gonna deliver on something really cute, and then it just simply doesn't. It's just like all over the place. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, to be honest. Dark and Shallow Lies. I enjoyed this when I read it, but I don't think it's something that I've thought too much about since I read it, so I'm gonna put it there. Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke is absolutely country. It is awful. The format doesn't make sense, the story doesn't make sense, the characters they don't add up. Nothing adds up. Like, this book was simply made to gross people out, and that, like, it delivered on that, and that's it. And then the last thing is Window Shopping, and this is also just going to hit the pop category. It was a good time while I was there, but just doesn't have any long lasting impressions for me. Okay, so this is the last of it. Again, the rock tier is like, there's something for everyone in this tier. I think that pretty much everyone loves this type of book in some way, shape, or form, and the general masses would enjoy these types of things. We have the K-pop group, which is, if you get it, you get it. You don't, it's fine. Like, there is hype around these. These are very polarizing type reads, or like very kind of specific type reads. Needs. The folk are ones that have more layers to them that you really have to dissect or spend time on or actually have an interest in order to fully enjoy them. Then we have the pop category, which I just realized these are kind of the same. The pop category, which again, were just like great in the moment, not necessarily long lasting until someone reminds you of them. Techno seem nice, don't deliver, really lacking in substance. And then country is just like detested. People just don't, they probably won't enjoy. So there's that. Free to let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my placements on things. I feel like I tend to read things that aren't necessarily always going to be the things that most people are interested in, just because I do read either horror, fairy porn, or just like weird graphic novels. So not necessarily things that I think like the everyday casual reader might read. So it's a little hard to like come up with a category for casual readers. But let me know how you feel. I hope that you enjoyed this to some aspect. I hope that it made sense. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to see future videos from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.